Yes, 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 yes. So great evening, great evening. I am the dynamic, daring, one of a kind diva, Denise Silas. And for those of you who are already on, please go ahead and put in the chat where you are tuning in from. If this is your first time joining an Empowered by DS experience, if you are a repeat offender, we love to know that as well. We welcome you back to our experience on tonight. So I'm super duper excited. I am going to send this text real quick to make sure the person got this information, and we are going to get started. Um, maybe on the corner. Let's see. Almost there, almost there. Okay. Well, I am going to go ahead and jump in because often we do have people who whether they are online, on live, or they watch one of our recordings that they may not have been introduced to Empowered by DS. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and tell you a little bit about us. And oh gosh, should have did this checkpoint first. Here you go. Almost there, almost there. I tell people I'm working on being, I'm perfect, y'all. I'm good. I'm getting it great. But maybe in about a year, I'll have this. Y'all be like, I remember when she wasn't. That's what y'all gonna say. Oh, okay. Here we go. Awesome, awesome. And all right, here we go. Here we go. So, Empowered by DS, who are we? It's myself and my two amazing daughters, Alea and Amani. We have started this journey as a result of me being called by God to expand beyond my pink bubble. So, um, the core of who I am, I've been in a Mary Kay business for 31 years, having served women all that time. So this gave me the opportunity to serve women outside of the bubble. So every year in January, we kick off our year with a vision board party. So that's a part of our empowerment series. So throughout the year, we hold additional empowerment breakfasts, or this year we did a virtual empowerment workshop as well. So the whole goal for that vision board party is to help women to recapture their goals, and then throughout the year remind them so they don't get those vision boards back up in a corner behind a door, if y'all know what I'm talking about. Out of sight, out of mind. So, and then at the end of the year, we do an amazing vision to victory party to celebrate people's accomplishments. I don't care how big, how small. If you made any progress or any movement, we want to celebrate you. So that's one of the things we do. Then we also do what's called Divas Dinner and Dialogue. That's creating community through conversation. That's more of a Friday night social event. So you get some social self-care as well in there, learning to just meet women on a more of a social, fun atmosphere. We do some of them as just dialogues and then some as an activity. We've done painting, we've done dancing, just to help us to have fun while we are also connecting with other like-minded women. Then, of course, this is our Let's Talk About It Tuesday, you guys. I am so super duper excited about this. We just kicked it off this year in March. We've already held, I think today would be our 24th talk conversation, because I just was like, sometimes you just got to jump in and do it, and you fix it as you go. So we are not yet perfect. The very first ones we don't even have recording of because I didn't know how to do it. So it's getting better and better. But the only purpose of this is through conversation to help women to see that we're more alike than different. There's a lot of conversations that we want to have, but we don't know who to have them with. So I always ask the question on my registrations, is there anything else that you want to talk about? And of course, our Diva Dinner Dialogue was not enough time to be able to cover them all. So this has become our platform. And I am just so grateful to God of all the women who have said yes, that they'll be willing to share their expertise or their testimony of topics that relate to us. So that's that. We held our very first retreat, Day Away Escape, to Nashville last April. April is going to be our month to just hold a retreat. Our goal is to get to a point where we do a wellness on the water. We wanted to do it in 2026, but the price difference between doing 2026 and 2027 was significant enough for us to delay that. So we will have a retreat, but we will also plan for the bigger one in April. So join us. We had a great time. In September, next month, is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, which is also one of our signature events. I hold it in memory of my sister on September 23rd. I'll talk a little bit more about that, is when we'll be having our 15th event. So I'm so excited about that. And we've raised over, well over $10,000 in her memory. So in addition to that, we every year do some type of devotional to help just women with their faith walk. So we're doing this one, 21 Most Powerful Women, Minutes of a Leader's Day, about just leadership development from a spiritual standpoint. So if you've never done that devotional, I encourage you to do it. It's based on John Maxwell's laws of leadership. It has convicted me in some ways, and then say, okay, I'm doing good in other ways. But it's a very, very good devotional. And then we have a subscription box. I love our subscription box. The whole purpose of that is we create a journal. That journal is to help women to stay focused on themselves, to really think about what's important to them, because a lot of times we get distracted off track because we're too busy taking care of family members, doing everything, our children. And to not say that's a bad thing, but sometimes we can get lost in that as well. So we do that. We're about to launch our next one. We'll have our launch at the end of the month, and then it's for the last quarter. So it's every quarter. We've had Focus and Fabulous, Self-Care Isn't Selfish, Bettering My Best, Empower Me is the name of the subscription box. And then our last one that we're in the midst of now that you can still get is Protecting Your Peace. So it's all about making us be centered around what we want. At the end of the year, every year we do a adopted grandparent program. That is how we give back. And we partner with people in our community and are able to provide gifts for over 400 elderly in low income areas in northern Mississippi. And then also, if you're not a part of our Decide Tribe, it's our community on Facebook. The whole goal for that community is to, first of all, have women who want to excel, to come together in a great place. If you have a business, to share that. If you have something that happens great, we want to celebrate you. So just having a great community where you being more celebrated than tolerated. And then finally, a couple of things that I do is I do group training. So I go in corporate and do group training, group public speaking, as well as one-on-one coaching as well. So that is a few of the things that we do. And what we have coming up, I'm in the midst of every year. This will be our 4th year of planning a cruise, a vacation. So if you need to travel, come travel with us. We handle all the things. So we're planning for it now to go to Jamaica. So you just text travel back to that number. Our next Diva Dinner and Dialogue, we've been dancing, and now we're going to dialogue, y'all. And I have some great topics. It's going to be a good one. So it's going to be September 5th. So I would love for you to join us. We are wearing teal in honor of Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month as well. So that is that. And then lastly, put on your calendar September 23rd for the free Feel the Teal event. I'll be putting more information out there, but we're having games to raise money. So 100% of our funds we're able to donate because of the sponsorships we get. So we're still looking for more sponsorships, because this year we added a venue, which we normally don't have a cost for that. Even though it's discounted, it still has a price tag. So if you know of anybody who would love to partner with us to help us bring awareness, I don't know how much you know about it, but 20% of people are able to detect it early because it's such a common symptoms that we have. So most people who who detect they have ovarian cancer are in the final stages of it. So, and also if you know of anybody who is an ovarian cancer survivor, we're going to do one of our panels. Our Talk About It Tuesdays when we're going to do our panel for that as well. So I'm looking for people who are either in a survivor themselves or maybe work with ovarian cancer patients that can share some information. So that is that. We will have our last one for Tuesday. Next week, Hannah is going to be our our expert because she is truly known as the grant specialist in this county. And so all the myths, if you know of somebody who owns a business or has a nonprofit and want to know really the truth about getting money, is there money really out there? I do believe Hannah can help us with some of those questions. So that will be next week. And then check us out, Empowered by DS. Our website has all our great stuff on it. Follow us on all of our platforms. Make sure you can connect with us on our community as well. And we would love, and this, you can always know what's going on and what we are doing. And I'm also, yay, finally got my LinkedIn right. So, and catch us there as well. So I am excited, you guys. I'm excited. Let me find my thing. Excited to introduce you to one of my new girlfriends. I am so glad to have the opportunity to call her my friend. I do believe that she would call me hers as well. You know, because sometimes we can call somebody a friend, but they don't necessarily call us that back. Well, I think we're mutual. So after I had my walk and talk, I do what's called a walk and talk, and learned so much about this amazing woman. I knew that she had something that she could share with us. So as I pull up her thing, let me stop sharing so I can get to the thing. Hey, everybody. Let me get to her. There we go. So Andrea Toney, Miss Black North Mississippi 2025, proud Hernando resident, advocate, veteran, and mother. Andrea Toney is a decorated U.S. Army combat veteran, community leader, and lifelong advocate for empowerment and equity. With 15 years of honorable military service, including deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan, Andrea embodies resilience, leadership, and an unwavering commitment to serving others. Now holding the title of Miss Black North Mississippi USA 2025, Andrea champions her platform, Honor Her Courage, dedicated to uplifting the voices and stories of women veterans while connecting them to vital resources. Through storytelling, education, and advocacy, she is creating safe, empowering spaces for women who have served our nation to be seen, heard, and supported. A servant leader for over 25 years, Andrea has volunteered across 4 countries and 10 states, impacting communities through mentorship, youth engagement, civic advocacy, and veteran support. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Human Services from Post University and is actively involved with organizations including Hernando, VFW, Post 7531, the Hope Center Mentorship Program, Mississippi Votes, and is in her second year with Memphis Power Fellowship. Andrea has also been selected to the Mississippi Women in the Lead Public Leadership Program. Andrea placed first runner-up and earned the title of Miss Congeniality at the 2025 Miss Black Mississippi USA pageant, a reflection of her authenticity, sisterhood, and leadership on and off the stage. A proud mother of 2, one attending Northwest Community College and the other a sophomore at Hernando High School, Andrea is inspired daily to live boldly and lead with love, purpose, and courage. Whether mentoring youth, advocating for women veterans, or fostering community change, Andrea remains steadfast in her mission to honor legacy while building a more empowered future for all. Oh, that's it. I thought I had another paragraph. So welcome, Miss Andrea Toney, all the way from Hernando, Mississippi. Welcome, 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 everybody. And for those of you who jumped on, make sure you put it in the chat. This is your first time on. Tell us where you tuning in for. So make sure you put all of that in the chat for me as well. So, yeah. So let me pull this up. Let me get you on the stage. Wait, let me get back to my Zoom here as well. So super duper excited.
Thank you so
Yay!
much for having me on, Denise. I really,
Thank,
really appreciate this opportunity.
thank you for saying yes,
Yeah.
girl.
Okay, Walls, I see you, Walls, Mississippi.
Yes. Okay. Let me share. So okay. So what we're I have some slides and we're just gonna have a conversation if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So let me share. Here we go. So she has no idea what to expect.
None. I'm a little nervous, but I trust you,
So
so.
let's start here.
Hmm.
So tell us a little bit about your first of all, why you decided to join the military and help paint the picture of what your military experience life was.
Okay. Just that picture popping up was like, wow, it feels like a lifetime ago, even though I've only been out for about 8 years, but I served for 15. I joined the military originally to get away from my parents.
Tell
I
the truth.
wanted college money and I wanted to travel around the world. But what's crazy is my parents were in the military too, so I didn't really realize that I was going into a job where I would be living with my parents all the time, the mentality that my parents had all the time. Um, but really it was for college money and just experience. I wanted to make a difference. My dad said I would be good at it, so I was kind of like, all right, let's try. When I first joined, I joined the reserves. So the reservists usually they're what we call week time or weekend warriors. They only do 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks a year, but they do get called up for active duty service when the nation needs it. And that's what happened to me. I graduated high school. I went to basic training, AIT, and then I got home and was on orders to deploy. So 6 months after I graduated high school, I was in Iraq. From 2004 to 2005 for 13 months, I was in Iraq. I was a truck driver. I drove fuel up and down the dangerous roads in Iraq to ensure that other soldiers vehicles, aircraft, everybody had fuel. If you didn't have fuel, you weren't able to run generators. You weren't able to cook. You weren't able to do anything. So we were really like the lifeline of the area at the time. I was there for 13 months, came home. It was really, really difficult to acclimate back into civilian world. Being 18, 19 in a deployment in wartime, when you're engaged in what we call small arms fire and you're being shot at, you're at any turn, every turn, they're trying to blow you up. So it was a lot to try and come home and find myself. So I decided that I couldn't necessarily just be normal again, if you will. And so I decided to go active duty, and that's where, it's 24/7, you're always a soldier, you're always on. And I switched my job from being a truck driver to admin. And from there, I went to Korea, spent a couple of months in Korea, and then just kind of went all over the place, had a lot of different assignments. I've worked at the Pentagon. I was stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, which isn't too far from here. I deployed again to Afghanistan. I was stationed at it's leaving me. I've been at Fort Jackson and Joint Base Lewis McChord and a couple other places, but I won't go through the whole list. The military for me, when I switched over to active duty and was doing admin, I I realized that in the job of admin, it was really difficult to get promoted. You needed a certain amount of points in order to get promoted. And so I decided very young in my career that I was going to do whatever it took to get to the top, right? And by that I mean, uh, you know, uh, not necessarily towards anyone, but for me, like I was going to give all that I could in order to make it to the top because I wanted to see change happen. I wanted to be able to walk into an office and be like, oh, we're not quite doing that according to what the Army standard is, and we should change it. And the only way you could really do that is become a senior leader. So that was my goal. So I took the hard assignments. I did what no one else wanted to do. I came in early. I stayed late. I mean, some stuff as simple as making sure the Excel spreadsheets were dressed right? Like this line had the dark side, and then this line had a dark side. So, um, but it was very trying being a woman in a man's world, on top of being a Black woman. Most of the time when I was a senior leader, I was the only Black woman on command, on staff. And I say most of the time I was the only Black woman, and um, sometimes I was the only woman in the room. So you have to we used to have this saying of like put up or shut up. So like you had to be tough. There was no coddling. They didn't care. Tears didn't matter, right? Like you had to be tough. You had to show up and be one of the guys if you wanted to be respected and listened to. And so that's what I did. So there was a lot of um pushing down, stripping away the femininity that I had grew up with. Um and it was tough. It was tough, but I was tougher. And I wasn't gonna quit. So I made it to I don't know how familiar people are on the call with the military works, but in the Army you have three ways that you can be, right? Like in the military, you can be what is called a warrant officer, but we won't talk about them because they usually don't do any work. You could be a commissioned officer, which is where you actually get like appointed by the United States Congress and you're charged with a higher echelon of things to do, or you can go enlisted, which is what I was. I was enlisted. So on the enlisted side, you can go from E1 to E9. Excuse me. And I made E8, which is the second highest rank that you can make on the enlisted side in less than 11 years, which is unheard of. It's unheard of. So I, I was badass. I really I didn't take no for an answer. I pushed, I made sure things that got done. And I always took care of my soldiers. I always took care of my soldiers. They were my kids, right? Before I even had kids. And so they would call. I remember this one time, I had a soldier that was dealing with SA that she had dealt with while in the Army that the unit wasn't really doing anything about. And we had to put her on suicide watch. And so we were down at the barracks, which is like dorms where the soldiers live, for I want to say, I think it was like 6 hours straight trying to talk her off the ledge and get her the help that she needed. And we all had to get up and do, physical training in the morning and go about our days like nothing had happened the night before. And that's just one example of the many, many of things that I had come across while in the military. So, I mean, I could talk for several hours, Denise,
So
about the military and my experience. I mean, again, it's not all bad. It wasn't all doom and gloom. I learned a lot about myself. My resiliency is through the roof. I'm able to bounce back from a lot. I've been through a lot. I've met a lot of beautiful women along the way. I could call any one of them right now, and they would be on a plane, to come be with me. And there's something about being a veteran, about being in the military. When you're talking to another veteran, like it's instantaneous connection, it's instantaneous community. So it was the majority of my life, and it has molded me very much so to like who I am today. But I'm glad I'm joined, but I'm glad I'm out.
gotcha. Gotcha. Well, I want to say a couple things that you said that I want us to take through this conversation, because sometimes there's some people who, well, let me say this first. I'm sure we all understand is the whole purpose of this conversation is not just about you serving. It's what you represent through your service, is just how you did it, right? the
Right.
challenges you went through, but we have something we can identify with it as well, right? That we can match. Like we have a situation where we had to prove ourselves because I went into service, but I can relate to that. So I want to make sure we take the stuff that we can relate to, take off the fact that it was the service,
Hmm.
so that so we can follow the journey of the whole reclaiming your purpose. So another thing that you had said, even okay, one this is definitely one point I wanted to point out because we all do this. So we stay with something that's familiar, right? You went to the service, you had the opportunity to come out, but because you could not connect with the civilian life, you went back to your familiar,
Hmm.
right? So how often, raise your hand, put it in chat, something. How often have we done that in order for us to kind of maintain our sanity, right? Maintain our sanity, or be, so we have done that. So just being able to connect your story to her story is my point to this as we move through. So, okay. Um, and doing what it takes to move up because ain't nobody playing with the people, right? Ain't nobody
At
playing with
all.
people. So I wanted to go into with your children because probably have a lot of moms, and I don't know how soon after coming out, or did you start having children while you were in service, and then being able to maneuver life in the service as a mom, or then out of service as a mom.
Yeah. So I had my daughter at 21, so I was already in the military. Um, And being a mom in the military it's tough. It's probably one of the toughest things I've ever had to go through. Because the army likes we all have, we have our sayings, but they basically say like if we didn't issue it to you, we don't care about it. So they didn't
Mm,
issue you a husband or a spouse, right? They didn't issue you your kids. They don't care. Mission comes first. So there was a lot of, especially in the beginning when they were younger, it was a lot of long hours at daycare. It was a lot of, hey, can you help me? I need, child care, things like that. But the hardest part, I think, was when Caitlin, my daughter, she was almost 2, and I was getting ready to be deployed to Afghanistan, and I was gone for 15 months. And so my parents, thank God I had a support system, and my parents, raised her for those 15 months, but she thought that I lived in the computer, right? Like we had internet where we were stationed at, and so I think Skype was the original Zoom, if you will.
right,
And
right.
so she thought that I lived in the computer. So when she walked by the computer room, she would look and she'd be like, Mama, right? And so like when my mom told me these things, it broke my heart because she knew of me, but she didn't know me. So that was probably the hardest part throughout my whole motherhood journey while in the military. That and the fact that I was so tough, like in my job, I was really tough at home. So I wasn't necessarily able to be as soft and nurturing with them as I really wanted to be, like as a mom. So those are probably the two things that were the toughest part of motherhood while in the military. That and being away from family at the end of the day. Most of the time I wasn't stationed where family was. So like it was really just me and my ex-husband at the time. So, but being out of the service, like I said, I've been out for about 8 years, and obviously they're older, but we're so much closer now, right? Like we have such a strong each of us have like us together as a unit, we're really fun, but us separately meet with each separate kid, we have our own, I don't know, like our own culture with each other is really cool. And like to see them see how they've grown and how they actually appreciate how they were raised, even though it was tough. They can see that through their peers that some kids weren't raised at all. So they're very appreciative now. And I can see in how they carry themselves and how they show up in the world that like although I thought for a long time I had dimmed their light, but I didn't, and they shine so bright, and I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of them.
So We didn't go off to Afghanistan. Sometimes people have a problem just going off to their job, right, and leaving their
Mhm.
children. So, what would you say to encourage a parent about? Because I'm a big believer that that's part of helping them to be strong adults,
Yeah.
of being able to be okay with leaving them, being
Hmm.
okay to be separated from them. And I know yours is more of a drastic extreme, but in what ways do you think that did serve them though?
Oh, absolutely. They're so independent, right? Like, and not hyper independent, but they trust themselves. They know that the decisions that they make, they think about it, right? That they're critical thinkers, and they think twice before doing things that they know is going to cause harm to other people or cause harm to our family unit. So, like, we're really a team. We're really our own community. And so I think that's also part of what serves, because the military is its own community. So the fact that we are that, I think, also comes from the training. But what I would tell parents is to build up their children in a way in which they can know who they are, right? Like, know that the children know who they are, and they have confidence within themselves each day. Affirmations, have them look in the mirror, have them be okay with who they are, and then everything after that kind of just falls in line.
Awesome. So let's see. So what do we have next here? Okay, so I stole this off of your
I was
Facebook
like, I
page.
didn't send you that
You
one.
did not. So, but let me tell you why I grabbed it though. So, in this conversation about reclaiming your purpose,
Hmm.
you have the detour. You're making a detour, right?
Yeah.
So, to the way I see detour, we're trying to still get to the same place, but we have to take an alternate route,
Hmm.
right? So, when I think of reclaiming your purpose, I'm thinking I'm I got to get back to I'm reclaiming it, right? So I have a purpose that has not changed. Somehow I got off track. Somehow I had to detour. So that's why I put it. That's why I grabbed it when I was like, let me grab this picture because I was still a picture off your Facebook page. I'm telling y'all, I was still a picture. So to make my point, so I just thought that was so relevant to our conversation. So when you now look at it, and you may have a totally different opinion of it, or you may say this is not even relevant. Why did she grab this picture? Tell me what your thoughts are, and
No,
then
I think
tell
it's,
me
go
what
ahead, I'm sorry.
at what point did you? Because to me, to reclaim something, that means you lost it,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
what was your the trigger, your aha that made you realize that you were off course?
So I think this picture is perfect, and it is totally relevant. It's funny because it's not even one that I thought of. But yeah, no, so definitely on a detour towards reclaiming my purpose. I can't say that I ever really knew, like, at a young age, what my purpose was, other than changing lives, right? Like, if people would ask me what I wanted to do, and I wanted to be a teacher. But I wanted to be a teacher because I knew that I would have access to help children, right? To help children be who they wanted to be, so their light wasn't snuffed and da 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 da. Um, there's probably two big three big things that happened throughout my life that kind of knocked me off of the path of recognizing or realizing what my purpose was when we moved to Memphis. So my parents were in the military as well, and I grew up mostly in Fort Carson, Colorado. And so when my dad retired, and he's from Memphis, we moved back here. And the culture down south is totally different than East Coast culture, right? Like East Coast, West Coast, Middle West, Middle West, Midwest. It's all different. And so I was not prepared, being of mixed race background, to come down here and navigate this any situation that you can think of that comes with having a mom that's white, being light skinned, having good hair, talking proper, all of the things that we deal with within the community. that in fifth grade that I had no concept of. So that was really, I think that was really detrimental to me blossoming as a kid. That and then of course joining the military changed a lot, and going to Iraq changed more than I think I ever really realized. And then the last thing that was really like really my aha moment was when I realized I was in a marriage that wasn't going anywhere. There was no vision, um there was no drive to succeed, to push past what we were. And so it was, I don't want to say a waste of time. I'm trying to be very politically politically correct here. I realized I had to go. I realized I was unhappy. I realized I was mentally and physically like wilting. I was dying in it, right? Like I was being suffocated. And so there was a moment where I lost who I was because I really came out of my character, and I was like, I have to go. I can't do this. I don't know how I'm gonna do this because I wasn't working at the time. I was like, but I can't. I can't raise my kids here. I can't be here. We gotta go. So that was probably when I really realized that what I was doing, where I was, wasn't where I needed to be. And so when I left the marriage and moved back home to, down south, I was lost. I had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea where I was going. And so it was continuous prayers, prayers. And then the Miss Black USA organization popped up in my timeline one day. And I was like, huh, I could probably do that. I don't know, right? And so, but in the process of deciding that I was worth it, look at that. Deciding that I was worth taking a risk for, right? Like what could it be? What can this be? What can this help me do? Can it help reconnect me to my confidence? And in this journey as Miss Black, Mississippi, Miss Black North Mississippi, 2024 and 2025, I really had been able to reclaim my purpose. My purpose is to inspire, to empower, and bring communities together. That's what I'm supposed to be doing, right? And how whatever the medium is for that, whether it's through pageantry, whether it's through the modeling and fashion industry that I'm a part of, whether it's, speaking to youth, it doesn't matter what it is. My purpose is connection. My purpose is to connect people to other people, connect people to resources, and just really uplift and inspire folks along the way. So,
So isn't it funny that you had no idea the order of my slides? You didn't know I was all on your Facebook stealing stuff, cropping stuff. And because my question is like what the way I phrase it on my paper is what is the significance of the crown? So as because I know we talked a little bit about that when we did our walk and talk. So you started to talk about it a little bit. Let's go a little bit deeper into the pageantry,
yeah.
and how it relates to you reclaiming your purpose. Because different people have their different opinions of pageants, right? So when you were sharing it with me, I was like, I had never even thought about it from that perspective. So you having these aha moments, you feeling lost, you identify this platform, um, being new to the platform, you've been kind of in the platform for a while now. What have you just, because sometimes God would expose you to stuff and you don't even realize the true impact of it, right?
Yep.
You're just like, okay, I'm gonna say yes. You feel like, okay. But then the more you're in it, it's just more and more and more and more is revealed of why it is important. So have you had that experience since you've been in working with, and let me stop. Let me say this part. If y'all not following her, and I was like, because that walk, our girl walked the walk, walk the walk. I was like, and the guns, the picture,
Thank
I was
you.
like, let me get these things together over here. So, but the confidence shows and some people are like, I get fueled by confidence. Like women who are doing things, I get fueled. I know everybody's not, some people get intimidated. Then it's comparison. I compare it to say, okay, let me step up my game in a positive way for me though. So I love seeing you stretch your stuff.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So talk a little bit more just about that experience and how, for somebody else, it may not be the pageantry, but it may be things that you found in that where they need to seek those type of things out to be able to help them in their process of reclaiming their purpose.
Absolutely. So thank you, Lanita.
You
She's
do.
like, you have a mean model walk. I appreciate that. So pageantry like chose me. If it was up to me, I would not have done it, right? But like God told me, he was like, no, this is exactly where you need to be. And I'm like, my confidence is like this. Why am I parading myself on stage for people to judge me, to tell me that I'm good enough to like be this person, right? So it was really an internal conflict at first, but at every step of the way, like there were no barriers for this journey. So like every step of the way, there was some type of divine timing, divine reminder that like I was exactly where I was supposed to be.
Mm.
So with this particular pageant system, the Miss Black USA pageant system, the competition piece of the pageant is what's done on stage, right? So you have a talent that you have to perform, you have a fitness walk, which is in place of like the swimsuit wear. So you have the talent, fitness, and then you have interview, on stage question, and then you walk on stage in your evening gown. And so as I was preparing for this last year, I wanted to quit so many times. But I went to a store in South Haven, right next to Coffee Central. I cannot think of it, Janie Rose. And when I was in there, God said, "Open your mouth about the pageant." I hadn't told anybody, right? Because I wasn't sure that I was going to continue. But God said, "Open up your mouth about the pageant." So I did, and they were like, "Oh, well, we know someone who does pageants as well, and she's kind of getting into her coaching bag. So do you mind giving us your number? We'll pass it along." And I said, "Okay." A month later, she reaches out. We sit down and have a conversation. And I told myself, and I told God, so before this conversation, I said, what happens in this conversation will determine whether or not I continue. Because it was a lot. It was a lot. It was stressful. It made me like look deeper. It made me look deeper at myself, what I wanted, who I was, what my talent was going to be. I don't have a talent, right? Like I can't sing. Um, but I sat down with Miss Mallory, and as we chit chatted and she got to learn me and I got to learn her, and she said, "You, God sent you to me and he wanted me to tell you that you have to do this. This is where you're supposed to be." So like through again all these divine conversations and timing, I buckled down and I was like, I've been through so much. I'm not going to let this defeat me. What do I
Mm.
have to do? What do I have to do? So I had been taking like traditional dance classes at a studio here in Hernando because my daughter loves dance. And so she was like, "Mom, you should try the dance classes with me." I'm like, "Child, have you seen me dance?" But okay. So I did that. So I already had a talent. So well, I could use that as my talent. Fitness, while I was in the military, I was really, really fit. And when I moved back here, I had started working out again. So that kind of like everything just fell into place. The interview and the onstage questions, like it requires you to be quick on your feet. It requires you to know who you are, to know where you're going. So pageantry really for me was a pathway back to myself, a pathway back to reclaiming my purpose, reclaiming me, redefining what was important, and connecting with my confidence. So I love the fact that I can, inspire other people to like look in the mirror and be like, I can do that. If she can do that, I can do that, right? Like, and not even on a she's better than me or I'm better than her type conversation,
Right.
but just on a simple I can. And then the modeling came as a result of the pageantry, right? Like, because it's closely related. It's a little different. The pageant walk isn't as strong, because it's graceful and things like that. But that's the first time I had ever been like on a stage with everybody looking at me. It was so anxiety producing. It's like it was crazy. It was crazy. So I think a lot of people think that the confidence was always there, but it wasn't. It was very much buried very deep, and I had to do a lot of work to pull it out. And pageantry really, really helped with that.
And I would imagine too that this journey has, we going from combat boots to now, a pretty crown. So regaining your femininity as
Hmm.
well, finding her again,
Absolutely.
to be able to say that I can be, I can do cute. I don't have to be hard, because, when we started this
Yes.
conversation, you just kept talking about how hard you had to be. So
Hmm.
now to be able
Yes.
to show your feminine side.
Yes. And
Awesome.
that's another thing that another reason that I was, drawn to pageantry. Hold on. Right now. Can you wait just a minute, please? My son is trying to I'm in the kitchen, so he's trying to make something. I'm like, it's gonna be loud. Just give me a couple more minutes. Thanks, babe. Um, yeah, femininity was gone. So like the fact that, having to dress up and do the makeup and do my hair and the crown and like just wanting to represent well, has allowed me to I don't know, it's planted seeds and the soil has been tilled and my femininity is definitely, definitely back.
And sometimes it takes us doing stuff that's totally outside of what we normally do to regain what's already in us.
Yep.
Like sometimes it's tapping in. If you keep doing the same thing, you're gonna keep getting the same thing. So
Yep.
being able to tap into something totally different. So I applaud you with that. So these photos, you did give them. And and I know you have had the opportunity to really participate in a couple of mentoring programs. How have those mentoring programs been a part of your reclaiming your purpose journey?
Yeah, absolutely. It is my purpose, right? Like changing or being the light and helping other people, but specifically youth, like see that they have a light inside them already and they don't have to be anything other than who they are in order to, receive the bountiful abundance that the world can give them. But yeah, being able to see I love it. It's probably one of my favorite things when I'm walking around in Crown and Sash and I see a little girl like double take and be like, Mom, do you see her? And just thinking that she can do it too, right? Like she already is a queen, but she can be a queen. And so like to stop and just give people my time, and to be able to encourage and, uplift. There's no better feeling. And speaking for the Hope Center's leadership conference, the Hope Center's youth leadership conferences, I think I did Hernando, Tate County, and South Haven. And the speech, in a sense, was relatively the same, but different people got to hear it and, pull different things from it. So there's nothing more gratifying than like after an event or after a speech, someone walking up and being like, that this part or what you said here or you doing this changed how I look at things. So knowing that I have that type of power with, for the lack of a better word, but just by being who I am, that's the part that has helped me reclaim my purpose, reclaim the fact that who I am is enough as I am, right? Like God didn't make any mistakes on me. Everything that I've been through, I was supposed to go through, because if not, then how would I be here now being able to, pour into other people? So yeah, this is probably the highlight of of the last few years, especially during pageantry. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Um, are there any challenges that you had overcome that you have not yet shared that you think will really encourage the ladies on?
Yeah, I mean, there's several challenges, right? All still, even though I tell myself I'm enough as I am, sometimes there are bouts of feeling unworthy, right? Like and not being enough, not being good enough, not being perfect, um, not like always being on. Sometimes, like with all the energy and stuff that I give out, especially like this last week for Memphis Urban Fashion Week, I'm exhausted. I need like 4 days of sleep before I can really be in anybody's company. So those are challenges like recovering after big events is still sometimes challenging. Getting up and working out is challenging. There's some days that I just don't want to do it. Other challenges mainly is my mental, right? Knowing or believing that I can. Sometimes I have some real long bouts of like deep doubt. Like I have doubts. I doubt myself a lot. And I tend to overthink everything. I'm overthinking, right? Like that's how much I overthink. So, but yeah, just I'm human. So
Yeah.
most things that other people deal with, like I deal with, the challenges of raising two teenagers on your own by yourself. I don't want to say by myself, but on my own because my family is here and they help when they can. But like it's a lot and it's a lot daily. And so to juggle all of it while showing up in the community in the way that I do sometimes takes a toll. And so like after the pageant, I'll be recessed for a month. There'll be no posts, no posts, unless if I go to New York Fashion Week, which I think I will, but neither here nor there. Um, so yeah, so not recuperating properly with enough time is probably the biggest challenge on top of the doubts.
So how do you motivate yourself to keep going, or are you a reader? Are you tapped into communities? Like how do you get fueled to keep going?
Yeah, it comes and goes. So what I do to keep exercise is one of the main things that keeps me like if I'm not moving, I feel so lethargic, right? Like it creeps in faster when I'm not
Mhm.
moving. And so whether that's like actual exercise or dancing or skating, movement is really helpful. Music, I love music. So if I'm feeling down, I'll throw on, some Beyonce or some real like empowering I'm that, boss type music and that lifts. I like quiet time. I have right when I wake up on my wall in front of me is this the vision board that I did with you at the beginning of the year, plus the vision board that I've had for a couple of years and I'm just working on marking things off. And then I have a couple of quotes that say don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Focus on what you're doing. And another one that says you're capable than more than you know. I have affirmations that I read. So I even have them right here, right? Like this is called the Trailblazers Creed. And so I say these every morning. I will show up for myself. I will trust the process. I will commit to results, not activity. I will prioritize progress over perfection. I may have to do it scared, but I will do it. I will embrace the support from my tribe. So like that's I read these and then I always have a notebook. Always. And so anytime I have an idea or a feeling or something that pops up that I can't necessarily like articulate, I just write it down. And I don't like using my notes because it's not the same. I'm old. I was born before the internet. So like pen and paper does something
Mhm.
for me.
Mhm. I got about three, four notebooks right on my desk. The
I
one
love
that's
notebooks. I have a problem. I have a
yeah.
problem.
Mine don't even have
Notebooks
to be
with pen.
fancy. Mine is just go get me a three subject, five subject, some subject. And then we have a pretty cover or anything. I just need to get the information out. So
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. So what if there are any specific tips that you want to share with that maybe we didn't capture that you said, I want to make sure I get this to the ladies. Do you have
Yeah.
anything else that you wanted to share?
I think the biggest thing is being able to look in the mirror and be okay with who you are. right? Like, and if you're not, why not? Is it small stuff? Is it like what society is telling you isn't beautiful or anything like what is it that makes you happy? What brings you joy? Not, I won't say happiness, I want to say joy. Like what brings you joy? That's where I started. Like reclaiming my purpose was in finding joy. What brought me joy? Dance brought me joy, roller skating, coloring. I love coloring. I love clothes, so there's a lot of shopping. But what brings you joy? And so when you find out what brings you joy, I think things start branching off of that, right? And then in owning your power is recognizing like how powerful you are in the moments that you are the most weakest because you continue to go, you continue to move, right? So like that's power in itself. You don't have to be in charge of anybody. You don't have to be in a leadership position.
Mhm.
You don't have to wear a crown. You don't have to have a title, right? But you are still powerful. You are powerful because you own your thoughts, you own your actions. And so if you think it, you can do it. And if you do it, it can be. So that's probably what I would leave people with, and just making sure that they are really connected to joy and what they want to like see in the world. If you want to see more gardens, then create gardens, right? Like we have so much power just by being alive on Earth. We just have to facilitate it. We have to find it and figure out where we want to use that power, what we want to see, what we want to create. As women, we have the ability to create, right? Like we bring lives, we bring people, we create humans in our
Right,
body,
right.
right? Like so the fact that we can do that tells me that we can create anything. We don't just create life as in a baby, but we can create and breathe life to, I mean, look at what you've done with Empowered by DS. You have created something and something that has brought so many women together and has helped heal me. So, so yeah, so we already all have the power to redefine or reclaim our purpose.
Awesome. So what's next? Oh, questions. Let's see. Anybody have any questions or anything? I'm stop share just so we can see. Yeah. So any questions, and I'm things so you can see the people too. Um, anybody have any questions or comments? I've never been in the military, but have military children, and it has been stressful. How would you? Oh, where is that at? Where is that at? I'm gonna finish it. How would you feel if your children decide to join the military?
I get this question a lot. I would respect their decision. But again, my kids are two totally different people. So my daughter is a creative, right? She's a water sign and she's true to that. So if she's feeling this way, she's going that way, and if she's like, then she's gonna go this way, right? Like the military really wouldn't really like help her mentally unless she could find a job in the military that she wanted. My son, on the other hand, he's real kind of chill, go with the flow. You tell him to do this, he's like, all right. You tell him to do this, he's like, all right. So he could do it, right? It just, the military just strips so much of a person because the whole point, right, is to break you down as a civilian and to build you back up as a soldier so that when you're on the battlefield, you're not asking any questions. When the
Mm.
command is given, you charge. So it makes sense as to why it's set up that way, but no, I don't want that for my children. I don't want that for my children. I want my children to be able to come and go as they please, make decisions based on what's best for them, not what's best for the culture of a company, of the company, or the United States military. But like the DoD doesn't, they don't, they're just numbers. They're just numbers. If you look around in Congress and the House of Representatives, how many of their children are in the military? Oh, wait. Very few, right? So like, um, I would say have a plan. If they're already in, they need to have a plan, right? Like they need to find a job that they can use and that will translate on the outside. So for example, even though I was admin HR, that's military HR. It's not the same as working HR for like Google. right? Like it's two totally different tracks. So even with the amount of expertise that I have, I would have to go through a different type of training in order to qualify for that type of job. But let's say IT is a little different, right? Like IT in the military, computers are computers, our computers are computers. So IT in the military, you can translate that into civilian work. So that's probably what I would say around, children in the military, my children in the military, or really anyone that's children who are thinking about joining the military is just have a plan. Know what you're gonna do, save your money, don't get caught up in the, well, you get paid on the 1st and the 15th every month. This is a good gig. Okay. There's other ways. There's other ways. So
Anybody else have a question, comment, feedback you want to give her? All quiet. Give me a thumbs up. If something she said resonated with you, give me a thumbs up. Make stuff fly. Yes, 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 yes. Because the
Andrea,
thing
I
is,
thought you were fabulous.
oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Miss Hannah.
did you, Andrea, I think you came on after I was talking with Hannah. She is in the reserves
Oh,
and she
okay.
just came back from her 2 week.
Awesome. Okay, we need to talk, Miss Hannah.
Yes. Yes. So when you were saying that, I was like, that's Hannah.
Yeah.
And I'm tired. I need to recover.
You do. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? That definitely help you. So I kept saying, it's one thing, yes, her experience, but we as women have all found ourselves at some point, and if not, they say keep living. When you look in the mirror and like, not sure who's looking back at me.
Yep. Yep.
Yes, so
Yeah.
awesome. And a couple people said thank you. Great talk. Yes. Thanks for the reminder and the encouragement to find ourselves and appreciate who we are as a person. Beautiful testimony.
Thank you, lady.
Yay.
Yeah, this meant this is I was, I try not to cry too much. There's that toughness kicking in, but this was, I so appreciate the opportunity, Denise, and I know you know, but if you don't know, you must know like what you do in our community to bring like-minded women together. I don't even have a word for it. Like, thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
They say to God be the glory, 100%.
Yeah,
I just learned to be crazy enough to just blind trust. so,
same, same.
so tell us about, as we get ready to wrap up, you guys, Andrea, tell us about what's coming up. Do we need to be scanning that code? What's the
Yeah.
what?
Absolutely. Okay, so right. Okay, so upcoming is the Miss Black Tri-State pageant, and that is in Atlanta. So that is where Mississippi, Tennessee, and Georgia, the states of each of us, will be competing for the state title, right? So like all of us now have our local title, Miss Black North Mississippi. So we'll be competing in those areas I was talking about earlier for the crown to be the state title holder. And then we will move on next year to compete for nationals. But so that's coming up. So I'm running for Miss Black Mississippi USA. It'll be 2026. I'm super, super excited about that. That's next weekend in Atlanta, and I'm just I got everything. I'm ready to go. I'm super excited, but I'm just like ready to go, and like the anticipation is killing me. Up until the actual day of the pageant, we have what's called People's Choice voting, and this is basically like a popularity vote, right? How many people can you get to vote for you? The actual competition. So what are the deets for next week and location and time? I got you, Sinitra. I'll send it to you. Um, so the actual pageant is decided by judges, right? And then we get scored, and whoever has the highest score wins. People's choice is people will go to the website, you vote, it's $1 per vote, and whoever has the most votes at the end of the until the pageant, they basically will win people's choice. So that's what the QR code on the picture is about. So if you scan the QR code, it'll take you to the website to vote. And it's also on all of my social media pages too. And then I'm also looking for sponsorships or in-kind donations. Pageantry is very expensive. So, between travel and gas and gowns and appearances and things like that. So I'm still trying to raise just under $2,000 still, in order to, not incur so much out of pocket costs to get to Atlanta. But I'm also, I mean, that's always, even if it's not just like monetary donations, I can also do like sponsorship of products, right? Like with not ads, I was gonna say commercials, but like just posting it on my social media and like advertising whatever the product may be. So yeah. So that's what's coming up.
Awesome, awesome. And so we do that. So if somebody wants to sponsor, what's the process for that?
Right, it would just be contacting me right now. It would be good either through my phone number or email. I do have a sponsorship letter that I could send them. See, look at you. You're all on it. You're all on it. I love this. Your attention to detail and logistical planning is like it makes my heart smile. It makes me warm and fuzzy on the inside. But yeah, you can reach out to me. Email is the best, and I can send my sponsorship letter to you, and then we can discuss from there. Um, but yeah, that's the easiest way to kind of to keep it organized. But yeah, definitely connect with me on Facebook and IG. I'm always on. I'm always posting. Another thing earlier you had asked about tips or what was it that kept me going, motivating me on certain things. So deep down inside, social media is not my friend. It's not my favorite. It's probably one of the least favorite things about all of this that is a part of it. But I have so many young kids come up to me and say, "Oh my God, I saw your post. You're such an influencer." And I'm like, "Y'all are paying attention to me? Okay, okay. I guess I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing." So that's another one of those motivations just to continue to put myself out there and let other people see that like you can do it. It can be done. So yeah, so contact or connect with me on social, email me, and yeah, we could have more conversations.
Awesome, awesome. Um, this was good. This was good. This was good. And I'll tell you guys, when we think about um, stuff like social media and when you post and how you said when somebody comes up to you, it's just like, okay, this is why I'm doing this.
Hmm.
You social media can be good or can be bad. It's how you're using it, right? Are you using it to make shame people, to make encourage people to, you know, I always tell people my whole mission is I'm an everyday girl. Like I go to church, I got a husband, I got kids, I'm just your everyday girl. And my whole goal is to encourage somebody to do what they thought they couldn't do, just like you, right?
Hmm.
And then we don't know how many children are looking or young ladies, you know, 20s and 30s. If we're doing things differently, hopefully they're picking up on that you don't have to show everything. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. So use your platform. It's not always about us, right? It's about who we can impact through our about what we do. And we never know who we're influencing. You're just looking. I don't care about no haters. I don't even address that concept.
Yeah.
But when that one person comes up to me and says, I saw your post and da 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 da, okay, look, that makes me keep myself up, right? To be in the spirit of excellence because I want to be able to influence somebody in a positive way versus just they saw me going off on. Now I
Right.
can do that every once in a while. Somebody that made me mad. Now I is human, but I try to back that up with okay, this was the situation, and you know, call myself out. Call myself out.
Right.
What's not of the spirit of excellence as well. So Yay! This was good. This was
This is
good. So,
awesome.
thank you, thank you for saying yes and being able to share of your time, because I know this is a season. I was like, I know this is a crazy season for her. So you could have easily said, okay, let's do it maybe in November.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming on. I encourage everybody, let's go support her as in whatever way. Share her post. You can be amazed at the fact that you share somebody's post because they're your friends and they're not the same friends, that there may be just that one person who may say, hey, let me support her. So let's share her information as well, and vote ourselves, and then just keep her in prayer as she is taking her journey to Atlanta, representing us here in the northern Mississippi area. So appreciate all you do, Miss Andrea. So you guys
Thank
have a
you.
rest of the evening and have a fantabulous night. I'll see
Yes.
y'all soon.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
everyone.